Saturday's Telegraph, and segregation is back, ironically, in a history class. Nick.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. White students banned from Black History Month events at Westminster University, and it's as stupid as it sounds. So they're being accused of racial segregation, because that's what they're doing. Dr. Neil Thin, a social anthropology lecturer at Edinburgh University, has said copying the racial segregationism that we've previously seen in South African and USA education systems is bitterly ironic. He says to see the rhetoric of safe spaces abused to justify racial segregation. Now, Toby Young, full disclosure, I do a weekly podcast with him called The Weekly Skeptic, available on all formats. He says, at some point, you think it would be clear to these zealots that you're not going to reduce racial discrimination by discriminating against people on the basis of their race, but they're so blinded by ideological groupthink they cannot see this glaring contradiction. And I would say the same. A spokesman here for talks about Black Lives Matter commitments, even though Black Lives Matter have been largely discredited. And this person said that equality of opportunity does not always mean giving everyone access to the same thing. That is literally what it means. So that was stupid as well. And it just reminds me of the Brett Weinstein incident from Evergreen University, when this kind of stuff started to happen more frequently. He was a Jewish professor banned from campus for a day. They said, no, you're not allowed on campus today. And that rang alarm bells to him as a Jewish person, quite reasonably. Correct. And that kind of red-pilled him from being a very, very left-wing person to still being left-wing, but questioning some of the excesses of what we could call the woke left, or whatever you want to call it. And this is just another example. And I think we've accepted far too much of this identity politics. And Kanye had that satirical take on it recently, the other day, wearing the White Lives Matter top. I think
Candice Owens, who's a black political commentator.
Exactly. And people were outraged at this, calling it racist, that a black man in America, it says White Lives Matter. It's about the least racist possible sentiment. And just briefly as well, even in the Conservative Party, they've got this 2022 group, and they've got this obsession with identity politics, which Calvin Robinson on this channel has been very critical of. So I think we need to reject identity politics wherever it turns up, because it leads to things like this, racial segregation.
I'm interested in the fact that you say all available formats. Can I still cassette?
Yes, you can get our podcast, The Weekly Skeptic, available on cassette now.
Or for £100, he'll come around, sit next to you on your bed and just read it.
I'll just say it, yeah. It's a lot like this. You'd hate it.
£200
It's just my opinions for an hour. It's your absolute nightmare. But for everyone else, check it out. I turned the camera there.
Look, what do we think about this? Definitely Nick is excised about this story. It doesn't look great, does it? I mean, perhaps we need to look at the context, but I just wonder whether separating people based upon skin colour might not be the way to go.
And this could be happening at an event that talks about how bad segregation is. So there'll be irony there. But also, and I believe this would be the case, getting messages out there, educating, surely the goal. Surely the aim is to have more people informed to be less racist, means you'd want more people involved with things. So I think
more people not of colour, ironically.
Yeah.
Because arguably it's perhaps people who are not of colour that would benefit most from Black History Month.
So you're saying the only people who should be involved in Black History Month are white people, Mark?
Well, I think everyone. Yeah, I do. I think that we're all brothers and sisters in the eyes of God, aren't we? And when will these academic institutions understand that we've got to stop picking each other out based upon skin pigmentation? Who cares?
But still, the clip that I'll take is the earlier bit that makes you look bad. But that'll the internet.
Definitely, no. Not having it. It does seem like the world's gone mad with that story. I think it's an example of how the woke monster will just consume itself eventually. Well, here's hoping.